The following is a 62 CBS Sports Special presentation. Detroit 62 CBS, Big Time TV. Now, Detroit 62 CBS brings you a 62 CBS Spartan March Madness Special. Hear from the players and coaches as they preview their first round matchup. Detroit 62 CBS, Big Time TV.
Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome to Cleveland, Ohio for round one of the NCAA basketball tournament here in the year 2000. The big dance as the Spartans are rocking in Cleveland. I'm Dave Ackerlane tonight. A very special greeting to all viewers in and about the Motor City of Detroit, across Canada and the province of Ontario, and of course our friends back in mid-Michigan. We are just 40 minutes away from tipping things off at Michigan State's tournament run for the national title. Spartans seated number 1 in the Midwest, taking on the number 16 seed Valparaiso, little school there in the Indiana Dunes, but they are no lowly number 16 seed. More on that later in the show. Already a couple of games done here today. It's St. Bonaventure's taken Kentucky right to the wire, double overtime before losing 85-80. A great basketball game. And Syracuse, in a tough one, surprisingly tough, they beat Samford out of Birmingham, Alabama. Later tonight, Utah takes on St. Louis, and the winner of that game is on a collision course with Michigan State. But first, the Spartans have to take care of Valparaiso. And on that note, we're going to have more on Valpo coming up in the show tonight. Coming up next on our show, we're going to recap the Spartan basketball season and the Big Ten titles, plus the latest injury report on a very key freshman when the Spartans rock in Cleveland, and we roll back at you. Stick around.
This 62 CBS Spartan March Madness Special is sponsored by BigNet, your business internet provider, your Chrysler, Plymouth, and Jeep Superstores, and by Mission to Mars, rated PG, now playing. Detroit 62 CBS, Big Time TV.
Welcome back, everybody, to Spartans Rockin' in Cleveland, where what's rocking is the snow out here. Started about 4:30 Eastern time this afternoon, and it is really piling up. It'll be warm inside tonight. You know, it's hard to believe the Spartan season that is going so well right now started on such a down note with Mateen Cleaves, a stress fracture to the foot back in the fall. Really started the season, if you will, on the wrong foot. But Tim Doty says this team never hit the panic button.
Tom Izzo said his team was keeping the same goals and expectations even though Mateen Cleaves was going to be out for 10 weeks. They reeled off 8 wins in 9 games to start the season, including triumphs over North Carolina in Chapel Hill and Kansas at the Grade 8. 4 days after that win, Arizona took out the Green and White by 11. No shame in that, though, nor was there any shame in a 2-point heartbreaker in the land of bluegrass. But red faces abounded as the Y2K bug bit in Dayton. Wright State pulled perhaps the upset of the year with a 53-49 decision.
Yeah, I would say it was a low point. You know, that was probably one of the few games that we were supposed to win and we lost, and we just didn't go out there and play aggressive and play our type of ball at all.
The Big Ten opener saw Cleaves return. He had 8 points and 5 assists in a 13-point win over Penn State. 2 games later, it was Morris Peterson who provided the thrills with a buzzer beater against Indiana in an overtime victory. The much-anticipated rematch with Ohio State and Columbus turned out to be a rout. The Buckeyes pasted Izzo's squad by 11. That lit a fire in the Spartans' belly as they reeled off 5 straight wins, including a 20-pointer in Ann Arbor and a 19-point triumph against defending national champion UConn. A win 3 days after that in West Lafayette would almost seal a share of the conference crown for State, but it didn't happen. After that loss to Gene Katie's squad, State won the next 4, including the rematch of the rematch with Ohio State. And speaking of rematches, Bob Knight's Hoosiers returned the favor to the Spartans when they won an overtime matchup with a buzzer beater. MSU recovered nicely, though, and pounded Minnesota before closing out the home careers of their seniors in a 51-point throttling of the Maize and Blue.
We didn't always win, the closest games on the road and things like that, but we made the schedule so that when this time of year came, it was going to be easier for us to kind of adapt to the situation.
All right, thanks, Tim. So a three-peat championship in the regular season for the Spartans, which just so happens to coincide with the 3 inaugural Big Ten tournaments. And I know Spartan fans, coaches, and players would just as soon forget about the first one over in Chicago, but the last 2 Well, they've gone very well, including last weekend's big party in the Windy City. Here's Jeremy Sampson.
If Michigan State is able to win 6 more games and capture the school's 2nd national title, they might look back at the Big Ten tournament as their catalyst. In the first round, the Green and White struggled with a tough Iowa team before winning by 10. MSU then started to play a little better in a 9-point win in the semifinals over Wisconsin. On Sunday, with a #1 seed within reach, they played their best ball of the weekend thanks to some great defense and timely shooting in the second half. The winning margin was 15 over Illinois.
It's really nice to complete, the Big Ten season this way, to win our third straight title and our 2nd conference championship. And we have unfinished business in the NCAA tournament. We're just going to get down to business and take it from there.
After the game, it was time to climb the ladder once again to snip down the nets and host their 2nd tourney trophy in a row.
The players on this team, I've been saying, are special, incredible. You name the word you want to use, but don't lump them in with a lot of other people, because they've done some things that I think few have done.
The confidence this team takes from winning the Big Ten tournament is exactly what they will need to make a long run in the Big Dance and accomplish their ultimate goal of winning a national championship.
Yeah, we do, and we really want to win this, and we feel good about it, but I think we didn't show too much joy because we were exhausted. We've been playing, it's been some tough games for us, but yeah, we do have, bigger goals, and we do want to win a national championship, but it's not going to be easy, and we just got to stay focused and take it one game at a time.
All right, thank you very much, Jeremy Sampson. There has been so much said about the senior leaders on this team. The Flintstones, we'll have more on them coming up a bit, but sometimes it's easy to forget about the freshman stars who have done so much, and some of the younger players who aren't freshmen, guys like Big Andre Hudson, Jason Richardson, the Phenom, and of course, Aloysius, the Anaconda Anaganya. He has been terrific when he's played, but a stress fracture to the right foot has been a problem. Stress fracture has been the injury of the season for many Spartans, but Big Al is important. Just how important? Head coach Tom Izzo tells us without him in the lineup somewhere, they can't win the national championship.
Dave, he practiced a little bit today, and I don't know how far we can go without him. I just don't know if we have enough depth inside and enough physical toughness. He played a little bit today, blocked a couple shots, did some things. Al is a very important part, and right before he got hurt, he was averaging almost 18, 19, 20 minutes a game. So he's valuable to us, and we're going to need to get him back, I think, if we're going to make a deep run into this tournament.
Right now, I don't know what the coach's decision is right now, but I'm willing to do whatever the coach thinks is right for the team.
Do you look good today?
I think for the short time he did, sure. I think functionally he's moving well. Now we'll just kind of watch how the soreness goes. And if he can move pretty well, we'll probably give him okay to go with coach and play.
So many games, teams are going to try to, attack our inside, and we're going to need Al, he has a couple of fouls to give, so we're going to need all those fouls and all the minutes that he can play.
Boy, they can use Big Al. Well, coming up tonight, we are going to preview tonight's Spartan opponent, the Crusaders of Valparaiso. If you think they're a cupcake, better think again. And more on those co-MVPs, Bo Peet and Mateen Cleaves. That's all coming up when the Spartans Rocket in Cleveland rolls back at you. Stay right where you are. Buddy, to Goodman Arena. We're outside here in Cleveland, Ohio. Spartans getting ready to take on Valpo. Not a bad seat in the house. It's a cozy place. You've got a better seat watching on CBS. And Tim Doty says you're going to watch a Spartan team tonight that, well, when it comes to the tournament, is battle-tested. Watch.
It was nearly 12 full months ago, but the Green and Whites still think about the national semifinal loss to Duke.
The loss to Duke should help us out because we played and, we see all the cameras. We know how it is. We've been through this before, so we just got to come out and take a business-like attitude and go out and play hard basketball for 40 minutes.
When most teams talk about the tournament being a business trip, it's just that, talk. But when you look at the glare on Tom Izzo's face and the expressions on the faces of the players, you get the feeling that they mean it. Anything less than a national championship will be failure.
Because we feel that if we go out there and play our best game, then we can play with anybody in the country. And, obviously, if we lose a game in the tournament, we probably feel that we didn't play as best as we could. So it would be selling ourselves short.
That's where you separate yourself. That's where the elite guys, people don't remember the second-place teams, and one thing I want to do is, and for our team want to do is always leave our footprints in the sand, and we want to go out there and try to do whatever we can do to do that.
I respect the fact that they have big-time goals and they want to achieve those, as I do too, and if that's the way they want to get it done, business is good with me.
21 years ago, Michigan State voted co-MVPs on the basketball team. Just so happened the players were named Irvin Johnson and Greg Kelser. That year, they went on to win the national championship. This year, co-MVPs again. Maybe history has a way of repeating itself. The Flintstones used to be a four-man act. This season, it's down to three. And next year, only Charlie Bell will remain from the group that helped put state basketball back on the map. Fitting that Mateen Cleaves and Morris Peterson would share top honors here at the finish.
The great part about it is their teammates voted them. I mean, the votes were right on the money. You know, it wasn't something we finagled saying, oh, wouldn't it be nice? This is the way it went, and this is deservingly so. I think they've both done so much for this program and this team.
Mateen, you know, he's a really great guy, and I can't think of a better guy to share with, you know what I mean? He's done a lot of things for this team, and he really made a difference on us, you know, getting to this point. And, you know, he's one of my best friends, so, you know, that's something that we can talk about 10 to 20 years from now.
For Cleaves and Mo Pete, there's really only one thing that can make their collegiate experience perfect, and that would be 6 more victories starting tonight in the big dance. Maybe they know something here. The last time Magic and Kelser hooked up, you know what happened here.
National championship, you know, so, hey, I mean, it sounds good, you know, hopefully we can finish it up and make it special.
2 very special Spartans. Well, what about tonight's opponent, the Crusaders of Valparaiso? Are you thinking cupcake? Tim Doty says, think again. Watch.
Their most memorable moment was 1998 when Bryce Drew's buzzer beater sank Mississippi and Valparaiso went on to the Sweet 16. But don't look at that as a fluke. Homer Drew's team has been to the big dance 5 years straight, something the Spartans have never done. And they're the only school to ever win their conference tournament 6 straight seasons.
Because of the success in the basketball program, we've left young people with an idea that hard work and togetherness can be success.
The small Lutheran school in northwestern Indiana has 2 Croatians, a Finn, a Czech, and a Latvian, as well as 1 player from Warsaw, Indiana, that is.
Once the Europeans came to Valparaiso, I think they enjoyed it. They found a school who was interested in getting their education, and a school that was very close to Chicago, which is very ethnic.
Drew and his staff didn't have to go very far to find one of their young stars, Milo Stovall, sophomore hailing from Kalamazoo of all places, and would you believe he was recruited by the Spartans.
Back then, he was a tough shooter, and he shot the ball well, and it still haven't changed. You know, he still can put the ball in the basket, and Milo, and he's a very good player.
You know, right now it's, you know, has more, you know, magnitude, and it's more going to be a lot more aggressive, and everybody's improving their game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Still to come, it's a News Center 6 exclusive, the game day one-on-one with the big boss, head coach Tom Izzo. His final thoughts before tip-off of the tournament when Rockin' in Cleveland comes back your way. Stay right where you are. Welcome back, everybody, to Spartans Rockin' in Cleveland. And as always, we will rock with the head coach of Michigan State on tournament game day. I don't know, this is sort of a tradition, and I know coaches are superstitious, but I went back and tracked it last night. Michigan State's 7-4 all time doing this. So, I mean, that's a winning percentage.
That's decent, Dave. I hope we can make it 8-4 today.
Talk a little bit about the situation with Valparaiso here, an opponent that I know you're very familiar with now, and you guys have done the crash course. Is that the most difficult thing about getting ready for a tournament in the early rounds, doing just or how early will you start preparing for possible opponents before the seeding's done?
Well, we in all honesty, start taping games, especially the last 2 months, and we know that we have availability getting film, but we didn't start until Sunday night, you know, where there's no sense in looking ahead because you have no idea where the NCAA committee is going to put you.
And so really it comes down to your staff, and you've got a great staff and people, and Brian coming in this year, one of the kings of videotape, and that's got to be an advantage for you.
You know, it really is. My assistants do the blunt of the work in that area, and they get everybody ready. We have a very good video guy in Dave Owens who breaks up the tape, and then we get to watch the finished product.
The finished product tonight, I know you hope it's going to be a victory, and you look at this team from Valparaiso. great bench scoring. You look at the 64 teams, I think they're number 2 overall in bench scoring. And so it's a situation where just because their starters are coming out of the game for a breather, that's when it gets interesting.
Well, it really does. And they've got a couple of guys, including Milo Stovall, who's from the state of Michigan, that is one of their leading scorers, who comes off the bench a lot like we did with Morris Peterson last year. So you're right. I mean, they go deep. They've got 10 players they rotate in. They are a big team, and they are a team that shoots a lot of threes. And if you watched a lot of NCAA games, you know, sometimes teams that hit a lot of threes can be teams that upset teams a little easier.
How was the team practiced, Tom, this week? There's the one we see over here at the arena, which is more of a kind of a shoot-around. It's something for the fans who are there. And then there's what goes on behind closed doors. How's that looked?
Well, we practiced yesterday morning in a closed-door practice, and practiced very well. You know, it gets to the time of the year, you get over 100 practices in. I'm not sure they're going to get anything new out of a practice. You're just hoping to keep them fresh, keep them sharp, and maybe go over the opponent's stuff, and I think we've done a very good job of that.
How keyed up are you right now? Your team seemed very, very loose yesterday, coming off of that and meeting with the media. Mateen Cleaves was in a great mood, maybe as calm and confident as I've ever seen him coming into an NCAA tournament. What about Tom Izzo?
Well, I'm a little more nervous. You know, you keep looking at the things that can happen with a 116 seed, and then we've got a little added pressure with Valpo not being your normal 16 seed because of tournament experience, a team that has some players on it that went to the Sweet 16, and a coach who's been through it all because he's been in so many different NCAA tournament games. So it's concerning for us. I think our players are, I wouldn't say loose, but I would say, you know, they're not uptight either, and I don't really want them uptight. I want them nervous for the game, but not uptight.
Tom, Izzo, good luck tonight with Valparaiso, and all through the tournament, people are hoping for Indianapolis.
Well, I appreciate it, Dave, and we're going to try to do our best to represent the state of Michigan.
All right, the head coach, Tom Izzo. When we come back, one little bit of sightseeing before we close out the show, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and a little bit of green at the Hall of Fame as we head into St. Patrick's Day. International incident. Check it out. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame attracting visitors from around the world into its glass palace on Lake Erie.
Well, we've got a number of different outfits from artists, both current and older, more classic.
Shaft. Right on. Now, Sting wore this in 1983 on the Synchronicity Tour, but I actually think this would look good on either Doty or Jeremy. What do you think? The 1970 Bath Festival of Blues and Progressive Music. I don't remember that being held in Bath, Michigan, do you? But what does all of that have to do with basketball or tomorrow's St. Paddy's Day celebration? Well, let's ask the Era Nua flute band from Belfast, Northern Ireland. You guys you didn't come all the way across for the basketball tournament?
No.
You know, people are begging to get tickets for this, and you guys probably don't care.
We don't care. We just want to drink.
Era Nua, they're really my favorite band. You know, I love them to death.
Got all their CDs?
I do. I got all their CDs, and I rush out and buy the new one as soon as it comes out.
Go Michigan, go Michigan, go.
State.
State. Go Michigan State, go Michigan State, go Michigan State. Good luck, lads.
Good luck, lads. Hello, Cleveland. Yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know about you, but I still think that Detroit is America's rock city. Nugent, Motown Sound, Mitch Ryder, and the Detroit Wheels. Okay, Cleveland's not winning us over with the snow either, but we're hoping for a Spartan victory here tonight. MSU taking on Valparaiso. We are closing in on tip-off. Already your winners here today. Kentucky over St. Bonnie's in double overtime. Also, the last game played before our game, Samford giving a tough time to Syracuse, but they fall 79-65. But we've got coverage coming up for you. For Tim Doty, for Jeremy Sampson, our field producer Mike Schramm, I'm Dave Ackerley. Thanks for joining us for Spartans Rockin' in Cleveland. Enjoy the ball game. Good night, everyone.
The NCAA Basketball Tournament, Round 1 from Cleveland, a 62 CBS exclusive big-time sporting event. Now, our own Michigan State Spartans are next on Detroit 62 CBS, big-time TV.